By Andrew Greif, the Oregonian, OregonLive. EUGENE, 13 takeaways from Oregon's 41-20 win Saturday against Utah, the Ducks' first victory in 27 days. 1. When Utah threatened in the second half, Oregon finally had an answer. Not only had Oregon, 5-4, 2-4 Pac-12, not won since September 30, it hadn't scored a point after halftime in that three-game losing streak, outscored 58-0. Not that its struggles in the second half were limited to the time, since starting quarterback Justin Herbert's injury. Oregon also scored 0 against Nebraska and 7 against Wyoming after halftime with Herbert. UO's second-half adjustments, or lack thereof, were coming under fire. Oregon's performance Saturday, however, might cause anxious fans to hold that thought. In the third and fourth quarters against Utah, UO scored 24 of its 41 points, rushed for 222 of its 347 yards, and averaged 8.3 yards per play overall, 3 yards more per play than it had averaged in the first half. We took it as a challenge offensively, just to go out there and prove that we could score points in the second half, running back Royce Freeman said. We have struggled with that. Oregon Ducks vs. Utah Utes. Sean Meager. Oregon running back Connie Benoit finished with 71 of UO's 347 rushing yards, which was one off its season high set against Southern Utah. UO didn't just pile up yards after halftime, it also dictated the pace, running 29 plays in 17 minutes and 30 seconds of possession. Scrambling to play catch-up, Utah ran 13 more plays than UO despite 5 fewer minutes of possession. On Friday, Coach Willie Taggart showed us team statistics outlining UO's second-half struggles, how we haven't done anything in the second half. To invoke a Taggart catchphrase, for the first time in a long time Oregon did something after halftime Saturday. Whenever they play that way they can score on anyone, and they can win any ball game they play, Taggart said. But they gotta believe, and it can't be me believing, it's got to be them. 2. Right from the start, it was apparent quarterback Braxton Burmeister was more comfortable. Oregon's offensive coaches did a good job of getting Burmeister, the freshman quarterback who had struggles during the three-game losing streak, in rhythm from the opening drive. The first play was a rollout to Burmeister's right, which got him moving. He's an excellent runner, and allowed him to focus on seeing fewer routes by essentially taking half the field away from him. He hit Charles Nelson for a 9-yard gain on the sideline. 9 plays later, the Ducks were at Utah's 17-yard line facing 3rd and 6, when UO's great nemesis this season, a false start, pushed UO backward. Last week at UCLA, Oregon was 1 of 7 on third downs of 9 or more yards, which came as no surprise given the offense's limitations throwing downfield. But Saturday, Burmeister made a heady play he likely would not have in his first 3 games as a starter, bursting out of the pocket for 15 yards and a first down. 2 plays later, he threw a 5-yard touchdown pass. He went on to complete his first 7 passes. For a quarterback with 11 completions combined in his last 2 starts, this was a major breakthrough, even though UO had fewer than 100 passing yards for a third consecutive game. Limiting mistakes was, and always will be, key. Outside of a fumble, which brings his turnover total to 7 in 4 games, he didn't press. He also made decisions that seemed to be in line with Taggart's plea that he not try to do too much. On one UO possession late in the first half, backed up in his own side of the field, it looked like he might try to avoid a rush by getting rid of the ball early in the vicinity of a receiver. Instead of forcing a risky throw, he took a sack. That's what happens when you get reps, you tend to get better, Taggart said. I thought he did a good job. It was great for him to be at home and get his first victory as a starting quarterback. He was in more control. 3. You'll hear a lot about Oregon's improved second half, including here. But its first quarter was just as surprising. Oregon had been outscored 42-17 in the first quarter during its losing streak, a trend that put UO in holes it could never get out of against Stanford and UCLA. But it wasn't just Burmeister who looked more comfortable and played more efficiently as UO took a 7-0 lead, its first at any point since September 30. Oregon's defense also played with an edge. After allowing Utah to drive to its 19-yard line on its first drive, the Utes were forced to punt after going backward 17 yards thanks to 2 penalties, a loss of 3 on a Troy Dye tackle, and a loss of 9 on a sack between Jonah Mwa and Jalen Jelks. For the first time since the first half against Washington State on October 7, UO flashed its teeth defensively. Linebacker Justin Hollins even got in the face of Utah quarterback Tyler Huntley on a play blown dead by a penalty. Utah finished the first quarter scoreless, with -4 rushing yards and 50 yards total, 56 fewer than UO. "I know they understand that when we're energetic and having fun, good things happen to this football team," Taggart said. "We can't worry about losing. We gotta go into every game expecting to win, and I didn't think during the losing streak we went into every game expecting to win. Our guys stopped feeling sorry for themselves and decided to go out and play football like they're capable of."